and we're going to back up until we get what we would consider a 20% contraction and hold for 6 seconds. Right there, that's all it is. Hey guys, Ben Brewster here with Triathletics, and this is video 3 of the 3-part J-band series. In this video we're going to talk about low load isometrics, which is another use that I've found for the J-bands, and this stems from my experience with some rehabilitation programs where low load isos are one of the first exercises or modalities that you'll use when reintroducing a given injured joint or body part to loading. And the idea is basically take these end range delicate positions. So for example, max shoulder external rotation, which is one of the more stressful parts of the throw. Obviously you can't get to full external in this environment, but max external, max horizontal abduction, 90, 130 degrees. You can get to some of these delicate end range positions. And the idea is essentially strengthening, neurologically strengthening these pathways and your brain's ability to recruit the muscles involved in maintaining the integrity and stability of those positions at low loads. So basically just reinforcing that neurological pathway at these very delicate positions and encouraging the body to be able to recruit those muscles at that specific joint angle. So what happens if you go through your J-band super quick, you feel warm, you feel loose, but if you actually break down the movements, you really didn't get any strengthening or any much of those repetitions happening at your end range positions. Injuries aren't happening in this strong mid-range. They're gonna happen at those end range delicate positions. So by bulletproofing all those nooks and crannies in your arm action, in your shoulder, in your scapular complex, it's my feeling that this makes a lot of sense to include these rehab exercises in kind of a prehab mentality. So I've added these to my personal J-band warm-up. It only takes a minute or two of additional time. And again, anecdotally, I've felt much more stable and able to activate and recruit those muscles at these end range positions much easier after starting to do these positions. So as you go through these low load isos, again, this is not something that we're doing at max effort like you might see in functional range conditioning or pails and rails. That definitely could be a progression off of this, but as far as a warm-up and not creating a ton of fatigue, I really like doing this at about 20% effort for 6 sets of 6-second holds at each position. So we're going to basically take the same 3 main positions from video number 1, if you remember. So we're going to take max external rotation at 90. So you're going to find that position without any resistance. And we're going to back up until we get what we would consider a 20% contraction and hold for 6 seconds. Right there, that's all it is. So as I hit that position with a little bit of resistance, I'm really focusing on maintaining a good ball and socket congruency, so good shoulder position. I'm not trying to have any compensations. I'm not trying to go back and get an 80% contraction. Really keep yourself honest and stay in good positions. Get to a 20% contraction, feel it in the right spots, scapula, posterior cuff, 6-second hold, come back. Hit that position, 20% contraction, 6-second hold, come back. That's the external rotation at 90. Then we're gonna do a T position. So we can really isolate good movement at this point because it's isometric contraction. So straight arm, initiating retraction from the scap, get to that end range position, whatever you've got, back up to 20%, 6-second hold. Hit that end range delicate position, 20% contraction, back to the start. So because we're doing isometrics, it gives a lot more time under tension in these positions that you wouldn't get just cranking through those positions very quickly. The final one is a Y, so horizontal abduction and at 130 degrees. So all the way back here, up to 130, thumb up. So hit that position unloaded, 20%, resist from the scapula, and back. If you feel like this is way too easy, that's kind of the point. The idea is just go enough resistance so that your brain can feel the muscles contracting in that particular joint angle and at that particular position. This works really great to incorporate into your warm-up. Probably unnecessary to do post throwing or any other time, you're gonna wanna turn on those muscles and groove that neurological connection before you go and take that joint through a ballistic activity like throwing. And finally, I would recommend not just doing these 3 exercises in terms of external rotation, horizontal abduction for those 3 movements, but also doing the reverse. So horizontal adduction and internal rotation in those delicate joint positions. So essentially getting those same exact positions, but flip around and have the band attached behind you rather than in front of you, and still hit those positions isometrically at a 20% effort contraction for 6 reps of 6-second holds. So essentially get in that position and then internally rotate, hold that. What this does, this is going to balance the joint. This is going to teach your body to be able to contract in both directions at those extreme end range of motion positions. That being said, this is the end of part 3 of our 3-part series on J-bands.